Hello there, and welcome to Introduction to Linguistics. This is Syntax 1. Contents of this session: phrase structure rules, today, trees, constituents, recursion, and conjunction. Let's go one by one. Word order first. English is SVO, subject, verb, object. For example, the boy hit the ball. You know, other languages have different word order. For example, Japanese, subject, object, verb, SOV. I meat like. In English, we say I like the meat. So in Japanese, it is subject, object, verb. So SOV. But in English, it is SVO. Grammaticality. Here we have to mention prescriptive and descriptive grammar. What is the difference between prescriptive and descriptive grammar? Prescriptive grammar, it means how one should say to use the language properly. It should be as it should be. Prescribing how language should like. Never use, for example, never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Don't use no double negatives. And don't start a sentence with a conjunction. This is grammar as written in books, or in grammar books. But descriptive grammar as people use language, as people actually use the language, describing the pattern of language in actual use. Never use a preposition to end a sentence. We say, with whom did you go? But people actually say, who did you go with? So this is the difference between these two sentences. We see the difference between descriptive grammar and descriptive grammar. So we have prescriptive grammar and descriptive grammar. Generative rules, rules to generate sentence. Here we have these terms: noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, prepositional phrase. These terms or abbreviations. Phrase structure rules or phrase structure. Every word belongs to a lexical category. This is a fact in language. Lexical categories form heads of phrases. How phrases are formed is governed by rules. These rules are called phrase structure rules. Phrase structure rules. Rules that determine what goes into a phrase. Or it is called constituent. How the constituents are ordered. What is a constituent? A word or a group of words that function as a unit and can make up larger grammatical units. This is the schema, general schema. Here you see here X, Y, Z. So rewrite X as Y and followed in the environment of or followed by Z. X consists of Y followed by Z. Phrase structure rules for example, let's take prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase consists of preposition followed by a noun phrase. In the yard or at school. Preposition plus noun phrase. This is called phrase structure rule. Rewrite rule. Noun phrase, for example, envy, John. This is a noun, and at the same time, it is a noun phrase. The boy, a little boy, a boy in the bubble or in a bubble. All these are examples of noun phrases. Phrase structure rules for noun phrase. For example, you see here, any one of these phrases. Noun phrase, rewrite it as determiner, adjective, noun, and prepositional phrase. Here, these two brackets here you see means it is optional, but the main element is the noun. So it can be John. So noun phrase here will be John. If it has determiner and noun, for example, the boy, it will be determiner plus noun. If it has an adjective such as a little boy, a little boy. And if it has prepositional phrase, a boy, a boy, and in a bubble. In a bubble, it will be prepositional phrase. So this is the way we write these phrase structure rules. It's easy. Look at this diagram. This is called the tree diagram. The noun phrase consists of, for example, here, look at this phrase, the dog in the yard. Here we have the dog first. It is a noun phrase. In the yard is another prepositional phrase. So the noun phrase is composed of what? Noun phrase plus prepositional phrase, which is the noun phrase, the dog. In the yard, the prepositional phrase. And if you look at this prepositional phrase, it consists of preposition in and noun phrase the yard, which consists of the determiner the article or determiner the, and the noun phrase yard. So this is the way we draw the tree diagram to analyze the structure of the noun phrase, the dog in the yard. We will have more examples. Another noun phrase, a completely useless smartphone. As we see, this is determiner a. And here, completely useless, it is adjective phrase. And the adjective phrase is composed of what? The adverb, completely, ly, completely, and the adjective useless. And the third element is the noun, smartphone. So we have determiner, adjective phrase, and noun. And the adjective phrase consists of adverb and the adjective. This is easy and clear. Another example, the book chased the cat. Here, in this diagram, we have noun phrase, a complete sentence. Noun phrase and verb phrase. The noun phrase here, the big dog, article or determiner, adjective, and noun. This is the big dog, which is a noun phrase, the subject. And the predicate here, the verb phrase. The verb here, chased, consists of what? It is composed of verb, chased, and the object, which is noun phrase. So the verb and the noun phrase, they constitute the verb phrase. And of course, the noun phrase, the second noun phrase, which is the object, article plus noun, the cat. The whole sentence, the big dog chased the cat. Another example, the king of France had an ambiguity life. So you have to practice drawing these three diagrams. Here, the king of France. Here we have the king, which is a noun phrase, determiner and the noun, or the article and the noun. And what follows? We have here of France, which is a prepositional phrase. It is part of the noun phrase, the whole noun phrase, because you can substitute it with one word, the king of France, he. It is a subject. So, then we have the verb phrase, which consists of had, and the noun phrase or the object, the noun phrase. Noun phrase, determiner, unhappy, life. Determiner, unhappy, it is an adjective. And here, life is a noun. So we have, this is noun phrase, verb phrase. Verb phrase, we have verb plus noun phrase. Recursion. What is recursion? Some phrasal categories Categories may appear to the left or right of the arrow. Here, these the rules we have discussed. Noun phrase, determiner, it is optional. Noun and the prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase. Preposition is important and or main element, and noun phrase is optional. Recursion means the property of language that allows for the embedding of categories which can yield long phrases. Look at this diagram, another example of tree diagram. The dog with the brown fur under the big tree. Here in recursion we have the dog with the brown fur under the big tree. This is modifying the whole noun phrase. You see here the noun phrase, the big unit. It is mainly composed of the dog noun phrase, and here we have prepositional phrase. And prepositional phrase, you have a preposition and noun phrase. The brown here, the first noun phrase, and we have a second noun phrase. It is a dog, the dog. With the brown fur, it is a prepositional phrase. And if we add under the big tree, it is a second prepositional phrase or another prepositional phrase. So we have mainly noun phrase, number one, and prepositional phrase, number one and number two, and the third element, prepositional phrase. And of course, each prepositional phrase has noun phrase embedded or under its umbrella. The cat on the mat, in the house on the street. This is an example of recursion. Verb phrase. Let's move to verb phrase. For example, sang, ate the cake hungrily, sang a song in the shower, fell into the pond slowly. Phrase structure rules for verb phrases. Verb phrase, the main element is verb. Noun phrase, optional. Prepositional phrase, optional. Adverb phrase, and adverb is optional. Tree structure of verb phrase. Look at this verb phrase. Here we have auxiliary. Okay, because this line means auxiliary because it is in the past form. So we just add this to the tree diagram. We have the noun phrase, the boy, and we have the verb phrase, so the man with the telescope. Of course, with the telescope is a prepositional phrase. So verb and the man is a noun phrase. And we just added this to reflect or to give reference to the past tense because it is so. Here we move on to structural ambiguity because this is important in tree diagramming. He looked at the dog with one eye. This is one interpretation because here the dog with one eye, it is one noun phrase. You see, one noun phrase plus prepositional phrase. So description or the modification of the dog with the one eye. He looked at what? The dog with the one eye. This is one meaning. Another meaning, he looked at the dog. He looked at what? Only at the dog. How? With one eye. This is a prepositional phrase. So we have two diagrams for this sentence, which give two meanings for this sentence. He looked at the dog with one eye. Sentence must contain, of course, noun phrase and verb phrase. This is important. The dog barked. The dog. This is ungrammatical. Barked, ungrammatical. Of course, a sentence may contain an auxiliary verb, as we have seen in this tree diagram. You see, here we have auxiliary, but it is past tense. So we might have auxiliary such as will. The dog will bark, or such as am or is or are, or have or has. So a sentence may contain an auxiliary verb. And we write here auxiliary, AUX. Look at this sentence. Here we have the noun phrase, which is a pronoun here, she. Auxiliary did. She did not, this is negative or negation, did not write that letter. This is the noun phrase, and this is the whole verb phrase, write that letter. And this is auxiliary. We just give it the term or the abbreviation of AUX, auxiliary. Words and phrases of the same category can be combined using conjunctions and, but, or. Cats and dogs make good pets. Eat, drink, or be merry. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Look at this rule. Here we have noun phrase, conjunction, noun phrase. So conjunction can be or can connect it to noun phrase. Verb phrase, conjunction, verb phrase, and so on with sentence. Rewrite sentence as sentence, conjunction, or plus another sentence. Phrase structure 3 for sentence with conjunction. Look here, we have two sentences. Sentence, the mother sentence, and here daughter sentence, and the second sentence. And in between we have C, conjunction, and. Thank you for listening.